Because we discussed this anyway, so let me elaborate a bit that when it comes to economies of scale, we have three types. The first type is what we call the real economies of scale. This is real in the sense that we really get the economies of scale for our scale production. It could be the sense that we are getting large in terms of scale. We have more customers. We produce more units of services in this case, or we have more products. Right. So pretty much you have this large scale production. It could also be the case where you have this indivisibility. What does it mean? So suppose that we change our case detail a little bit, because we say that this is an exclusive gym, right? That you need one trainer per one customer. But let's say one trainer can train 10 customers. And it doesn't matter how many customers, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 10, you would have to pay the variable cost per trainer at the level of 50 baht per month. This indivisibility means that if you really need to hire this trainer, then it is much cheaper if you would get customer to 10 customers instead of just 1, 2, or 3, because you would need to hire one trainer. You cannot split a trainer into a half trainer because it's a human, right? So pretty much you have to hire one trainer anyway, even though the capacity of that trainer is 10 customers. But if you have just 5 customers, you cannot say, I'm just gonna hire just half of you. You can't, right? So that is indivisibilities. Or learning economies, which basically means that, okay, if you have this first customers, well, you are just starting your business and it is a bit rusty in the sense that it's just very difficult for you to manage to support that particular customers. But once you have more and more customers, suppose that we add another bit of cost, that is the managerial cost. Okay, you have more and more customers, you learn more, and you are getting better and better, and the overall cost getting actually lower. So that is the total cost will also getting, the average cost will also getting lower as well. So that is when you learn, when you get in scale, right? You produce more, you learn, you become more specialized, you become better at it, and that reduces the average cost or the cost per unit that you have to pay. The second type of economy scale is what we call pecuniary economies of scale. It is not the real in the sense that you don't really get any increase in terms of efficiency, or you are not overcoming the problem of indivisibility of the unit, of the physical thing, or you are not learning. But is it just a case where when you get larger, then it is easier to find source of funding? It is simple, right? Because once you get larger, you have more physical assets, or you have more of these know-how, or more of this knowledge, then you would have a larger collateral or security, right? You have more collateral in order uh, to raise funds. Also, it is possible for you to buy or sell in bulk. And even though you don't have your own economies of scale, but if you have to buy in bulk, then your seller or your buyer would find would get the economies of scale as well, right? Because if you buy a lot, they have to produce a lot, and they would achieve economies of scale, real economies of scale, as well. Also, it allows you to do this sort of large scale activities. For example, your ads that you it is it easier for you to make a large scale advertisement in order to reach more customers, and once you are able to reach more customers, it is easier for you to raise more funds as well, and also the benefit in terms of transportation as well, right? So it's large scale activities that you will be able to achieve. Well, another thing is you can also achieve economies of scale the external level as well. Let me call it external economies of scale. Okay, so pretty much this is like you can expand collectively, right? It is not your firm that is expanding in particular, but because the industry, you and your friends grow together. So the size of industry is getting large enough, and also the increase. Also, you might your industry might be fed this increased specialization of labor, which could come from this sort of industry specific education or training, right? Or you might get a benefit from this industry's specialist facilities, support services, or physical infrastructure, right? And also this private or public research center. So these facilities or these economies of scale are something that you get from the industry-wide level. It is not exclusively owned by one of these firms, but it is the shared resource that all of the firms within a certain industry or a certain group of firms would be able to enjoy. And by having these, like, you have like larger industries, or you have this specialization or better infrastructure research center, it eventually helps you reduce the average cost, where the better technology allows you to decrease the cost of production. And by having this, then you would gain what we call the external economies of scale instead of having to develop from your own. And the last bit that I want to mention is that there's another term which is the situation in which you would get more efficient as well, but it's a slightly different source of efficiency. It is the economies of scope, which happen when you produce, and it is not equal to economies of scale, right? It is the situation in which you produce as a firm, you produce more than one output using the same set of resource. For example, if you producing this chip, okay, these electric chips, in order to provide you a phone, okay, a watch, and now so many things, right? These smart home appliances. So what you would get is that because you can produce a lot of chips, instead of say initially that you have to produce just a chip for a smartphone, but now you can produce chips for a watch, chips for electric fans, chips for a kettle, and by having these opportunities to produce more chips than ever, what you can get is you can buy in bulk, you can purchase in bulk, and that would reduce the cost per unit of your input as well. Another possibility is because now you have more production, more specialist functions unit, and now you can spread the cost. You can spread the cost in the sense that you can use the same marketing unit, you can use the same finance unit, and you can use the same logistic or distribution unit for these different products that um, you are producing, and you gain these economies of scope because you expand the scope using pretty much the similar set of resources that you are possessing anyway.